Well, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. Just getting started as usual by showing you this client's previous set. It was that really cool and super hard playing card Queen of Hearts nails that we did. Super fun. She actually came back around, I think it was like 4.5 weeks. So it was a good amount of growth, but they were holding on. They looked great. We did lose a lot of those Swarovski rhinestones, and it actually happened like within a few days. Those large hearts that I did apply to her pointer fingers, she lost them fairly quickly. I think it's just because they're really large and they were flat backs, but were sitting in the center of her nail, kind of where the edges were up a little bit. It's okay. No big deal. You can see the nails have really held up well, and the shape is great, and we're just gonna get started in giving her something new. So this client came in and actually asked for a fill-in. She didn't want a brand new set. Normally you see me filing completely down, so like grinding down all of the product back to that clear acrylic layer. In this video, you're going to see how I do, I'm air quoting here, a refill, infill, backfill, whatever you call it, with the same kind of acrylic color. So that's basically what's happening here. I am using my Young Nails dust collector, love it. As you can see, there's tons of dust on the collector, there's tons of dust on my hand. I find the collector doesn't collect everything. It doesn't have this huge, powerful, like super suction force that sucks every piece of, dust in the air, but it definitely helps. I find my left hand that's holding the client's fingers, as you can see, is covered in dust. But I think it's because I'm right-handed, and the direction that my e-file spins in shoots the dust in that direction. So if I'm filing down, like you see there, up and down, the dust goes down to the collector. But if I'm filing left and right, every time I swipe left, the dust just flies onto my hand. So I've just gotten into the habit of like taking off my watch, taking off any bracelets or anything like that, because it does get really messy. I was considering using gloves, but I don't like not being able to feel the client's hands or any product or anything like that. So yes, we are working on this removal, and I decided to keep it in the video just so you can kind of see what's happening, because it's a little bit different than I normally do. So normally I turn my e-file up all the way to 35,000 RPM, and I am just going at the design, going at the nails, removing all of the bulk, all of the product or anything like that. Here I am using a slower speed, and I am just removing the polish. So I'm removing that top coat, any designs, I'm filing down a little bit, and I'm removing most of the product towards the back portion of the nail. I'm going to be refilling with the same color. This is First Nude by Young Nails. So I am using my 5-in-1 carbide bit and mostly focusing, once I get that gel top coat off and any gel polish that's on the nail, beautiful design, she will be missed. I'm mainly going to be focusing on debulking the back portion of the nail where the nail has grown out. So you're going to see me here using the tip of the bit, and I have it at a slower speed, and I'm using really light pressure because I don't want to debulk, right? It's a fill-in, so it's not a full set. I'm going to be removing the colored acrylic, any clear acrylic that has lifted in that back area, and just thinning it out so it's nice and smooth and ready for the new set. After making sure to remove the top coat, the gel polish that was there, and any possible lifting of the clear and colored acrylic, it is time to get into my normal prep system. So I spray her down with some alcohol and just using a cuticle pusher to push back the skin. You can see it's very gentle. I am not scraping. Well, you can't really scrape with this thing because it's like a rubber tipped cuticle pusher. There's no way you're gonna be able to scrape anyway. But I'm just pushing back her skin to expose any new growth, any of that cuticle that's stuck to that nail plate. I want to make sure that I can get access to it so we can remove it so that the set can last just as long as the previous one did. I'm going in with this diamond skiver bit in both directions, so both forward and backwards, and we're just going to be removing any of that dead skin that is stuck to the nail that we just exposed by pushing her eponychium back. So I'm keeping the bit as flat as I possibly can. We don't want to angle it upwards like you're using a pen. That's how you cause rings of fire. And as you see, I'm not spending a big amount of time kind of grinding out the nail. That also will cause rings of fire. You want to use a very, very light touch for this step here. Now I'm using my Young Nails medium grit sanding band on my mandrel bit, and we are just buffing the natural nail. So now I'm using it to just kind of etch the nail that has grown out, and to honestly on the skin a little bit. It also helps to just flake away any dead skin that's around the area, so on her side walls or on the back portion of her nail by the eponychium, just using that sanding band to kind of smooth things out. Also, if there happened to be lifting that I removed in the removal process, this is the time where I can kind of thin it out and get it to blend a little bit smoother, so there's a smoother transition from her natural nail to the extension that's already sitting there. Normal prep as always: Mia Secret dehydrator, the Mia Secret primer, and a thin coat of the Young Nails Protein Bond. I like to use 2 coats of primer. It just helps me. I don't do it all the time, but it's what I started off doing when I started doing nails. It really, really works, and you know, it's a trusted system. I try to make sure to let the first coat of primer dry, and then I go in with my protein bond, and while that's still wet, then I'll go in with my acrylic application. In terms of acrylic application, we're going in like normal. I like to lay down a base layer of clear acrylic. We're gonna get started. I'm using Young Nails Core Clear with the Young Nails monomer, and this brush that I'm using is from Kiara Sky. I don't know, y'all. I've been using it, I want to say, for like a month now, and it's a size 14. I don't know if the brushes that I've been using before, I mean, I understand that, you know, different companies will size their brushes differently, but this brush is really small for a 14. Like, I'm used to a bigger brush in terms of 14, and a big, just a lot denser brush. I have pinched it. I do enjoy a flat brush. The bristles are great. It's Kolinsky. That's all fine, but I just feel like it's really, really tiny, and it doesn't have a lot of weight to it. It's a very pretty, aesthetically nice brush, but I'm just used to a little bit more of a weighted brush, a thicker, denser brush, and a bigger bigger brush. So maybe I need to buy like a 18 from Kara Sky. Watch that, I'm gonna buy that and it's gonna be too big, watch. So I'm going in like I normally do with this clear acrylic layer from Young Nails, and I'm just, as you can see, applying beads right over the natural nail. This is basically my, I'm air quoting, infill, backfill. That's basically what this is right here. I like to do a base coat of clear so that when we go in for that removal, then I don't have to file down to the natural nail. In terms of the fill-in for this set, we are going back in with the same acrylic color. This is First Nude by Not Polish. I love this color. If I could use it every day, I would. This client actually loves it too. It's now her new favorite, and we are just going to be filling in the nail, giving it a rebalance. So you're going to see me applying bigger beads than normal. It's not kind of like how I did with the clear where you just kind of swipe over. Since the nails have grown out, the apex has moved forward. So you want to make sure you build up product where necessary in the appropriate areas so that the nail has enough structure. Look how beautiful this pinky stiletto is, just super sharp, just loving it. So you're gonna see me applying beads, sometimes down the length of the nail, but that's in the purpose of me rebalancing the nail, not just backfilling that portion to cover the natural nail. We want the apex to sit and the structure to be appropriate or adequate for the new length of the nail now that it has grown out over the time that the client has had the previous set. So for the tapered square nails, I'm going to be building it up just a little bit thicker than it was before in terms of the rebalance. So I'm going in like I normally do around that free edge, a little bit lower than that, and I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit. I did also remove a little bit of bulk in that removal or the file down process. So I'm just building it back up. And one thing that I try to focus on in terms of nails and acrylic is using the acrylic to kind of mold my tip of my nail. I don't want to do excessive filing, e-filing, hand filing towards the end. I don't know if that makes me lazy, but I just feel like it's smarter for me to work my acrylic in a way where it's smoother and sharper before even getting there. So you're going to see me constantly patting the sidewalls and free edge to kind of get that nice square shape before we even get there, so that when we get to the e-filing and hand filing, there's less work to do. And I'm just going to build up the structure of the nail appropriately for the length. These nails are a little bit longer. She's had them on for quite a while and we've just been refilling, which is great. Love that. But we just want to make sure that the structure is appropriate for this nail so that she doesn't get like cracks in her sidewalls. If you've ever seen people who have like tiny little micro cracks right by where the free edge kind of ends, that's because they don't have enough structure in the nail and they're getting micro breakdowns in the surface. You know, you need the structure. Here you see me adding product there just to make sure that we have enough structure for the nail. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have a good structured nail so that when you're living your life and tapping and doing things, you're not, you know, damaging your nails like that. Now it is time to e-file, and the nails look really, really beautiful. This color is gorgeous on her. Love it, love it, love it. Look how pointy that stiletto is. So that's the stiletto that she's had since 4+ weeks ago, looking great. So I'm going in with this medium. This is a narrow carbide bit. I don't know where it's from, but I'll link it down below if I can. I don't remember off the top of my head. But we are just surface filing and smoothing and pre-shaping the nails before hand filing. I have this at a medium to high speed. It's not a safety, so you must be careful. If you're using a brand new bit, then just be extra careful, because usually the edges of those are super, super sharp. This one's not particularly new, but one thing that I like to do is take a file and just kind of turn my e-file on and kind of file the very, very edge of there you go, I'm moving my camera so you can make sure you see, filing the edges of my bit so that when I go in close around the cuticle and sidewall area for my clients, it's not super, super sharp where I'm like nicking them and slicing up their fingers and things like that. For the square nails, we are just going to smooth them out lengthwise and clean up around the cuticle and sidewall areas. I like to go up the right side of the nail around the cuticle and then down the left side, and then normally doing my side to side up the entire length of the nail. There you go. You see me swipe my thumb down the nail. That's a quick way for me to feel if there's any valleys or bumps or anything that I don't want on that nail. I can just feel it really quickly. Works for me. All I've got to do now is make sure to sharpen up and clean up the shapes of all of the nails. So that's what I was talking about earlier, in the sense of if you do your acrylic application really nicely and your e-filing really great, then this part of the process is going to be very, very minimal. Look how beautiful that pinky is. Oof, I love a pinky nail. I know I said it a lot, and I actually said it to her when I was doing her nails. I was like, damn, this pinky is beautiful. She's like, you always say that. And I'm like, it's because it's true. This pinky is really beautiful. But yes, First Nude is a beautiful color. It looks so good against her skin tone. I actually have never used it on myself, which is interesting. I feel like if I do, I'm never gonna not use it again. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a nice set. I've been thinking of a set to do for myself. I have these uber ugly short nails on, right? They're not ugly, but these short nails on. I had to braid my hair, so I had to, you know, wear short nails for a little bit. I just haven't had time to do my nails with work and everything. So I'm imagining this like super gorgeous nude set that I want to do now that it's getting a little bit cooler. We're getting into fall, which is my favorite season. I cannot wait. My only issue is like I feel like fall is with us for like 2 weeks. We get like 2 weeks of fall before it starts snowing here in New York, and it just sucks. But I'm really, really excited for my 2 weeks of fall and my 2 weeks of fall nails, you know. But yes, we are just filing. We want a nice sharp shape, doing my up and down motion. When I do this part, I make sure to put my ring finger and pinky underneath the free edge of their nail and push upwards as the file is moving up and down. That one helps against the wobble. You don't want the client's nail, they're a little bit long, you can see there, to wobble up and down. It's a lot of product, and I've done it to myself where if you don't hold your nail steady enough, you actually risk pulling the nail bed away from the natural nail plate. So just be careful. That's why I squeeze really hard and place my fingers underneath the nail just for support. We don't want to hurt the clients at all. You can hurt yourself, sure, but you definitely don't want to hurt your clients. But yeah, just making sure we get a nice sharp shape on all of these nails. Because I knew we were going to go in with a gel polish design, I decided to use this buffing block to just smooth out the surface of this nail. Guys, that pinky looks beautiful, doesn't it? Nice and sharp and juicy. Just love that pinky nail. I'm just using this buffing block to buff the surface of the nail really quickly and the underside. I find that buffing the underside helps with softening it up so clients aren't like scratching their face or anything like that. But it's really great. Also, it helps me in removing any product that might be sitting on the client's skin. It's just, you know, really good for me. We're going in with gel polish. I just want to make sure it's nice and smooth but has a little bit of texture so that the gel has something to stick to. Just doing a quick spray down, had the client wash her hands, but I do this anyway. Spray her down with some alcohol and just using a manicure brush to clean up any debris that might be left on the nail from the filing process, and it helps to dehydrate the nail. So we are absolutely ready for the gel application. Speaking of gel, we are going super bright and we are going jelly. So I purchased these jelly polishes back early summer. These are from Beetles and super fun, super vivid. There's tons of color. I think it's like a 6 or 7 color set, but I picked these 4 colors. We've got a nice neon orange, purple, hot pink, and neon yellow, and I just thought this was really cool. So this design, I just did it on the fly. Actually, I didn't want to add too much color. I loved the look of the nude nail, but just felt like let's try something just a little bit subtle. So I'm going in with blooming gel right now. This is blooming gel from iGel Beauty, and I'm giving it a rough coat. As you can see, I'm not being particularly careful with it, and I'm trying not to add a thick layer of it. I'm just making sure that it covers the entire nail as it can. I'm not curing. When you use blooming gel, you do not cure it. Then I'm going to take a dotting tool, and we're just going to work this tie-dye pattern. As you can see, I'm picking up beads of that gel, and we're just going to be swiping around the nail, building up a pattern. As you can see, my swipes are a little bit inconsistent. I'm not picking up the same amount of product. I don't want it to be too uniform, and I'm moving quickly. That's one thing. When I did her other hand, I was taking my time, and by the time I got to the next color, the first color had already spread out too much. I've seen people do this with base coat, so definitely I'm going to try that. Maybe blooming gel lets the product spread a little too much. Now I'm going in with the yellow, and as you saw, I did like a really cool kind of swirly pattern. I'm just following the angles of that swirl, but there's no rhyme or reason. You can pick up tiny beads. I think it looks cool when you vary the sizes of the beads of gel that you're using. I'm going in with the pink now, and we're just going to be making this tie-dye pattern on the nail. And what's really cool is that the blooming gel is going to help to diffuse that color, so it's not like a big blob of dot. It's going to look really soft on that nude base. Make sure when you're using blooming gel that you clean your sidewalls, right? We didn't spend all of this time filing and getting these gorgeously shaped nails to have the blooming gel ruin that for us, right? So there you go, looking good. So in this case, because I already had blooming gel on both fingers, I knew I had to move very quickly because I didn't want the colors to kind of spread too much and dissipate. I wanted it to be sheer. That's why I used the jelly colors and not like a full-on color. But if you're going to be moving a little bit slower, do one finger at a time, honestly. Or flash cure with like a little LED flashlight, UV flashlight, do what you can. So here I'm starting off with the orange, then we're going in with the purple, and we're gonna follow the same kind of pattern. This has been really popular of late, not necessarily the tie-dye in terms of different colors, but I've been seeing a lot of people do this kind of pattern with like a color and then a different color on top, like in a French pattern. So it's really cool for summer, and I'm glad I was able to get on the trend a little bit. I do have another video on my channel where I did this with a really cool jelly and orange and red marble situation, those phoenix nails. I will link that in the cards for you to check out. Super fun design, but I just thought it was a really cool way to add just a touch of color. It's super soft, but you get a touch of summer, like it's summer ending, you know, we're getting into the fall, it's getting a little bit cooler, but we wanted just a little bit more summer, but it's a little bit soft here. I'm gonna make sure to clean my sidewalls like I advised, and then have the client cure for 60 seconds to lock this design down. I'm only doing it on these 2 fingers. So we weren't going to add bling, but you know, I don't know. She mentioned it. I was just kind of like, yeah, this is our thing. Let's just add that stone towards the back of the nail. It is so just cute, and it just adds a touch of sparkle, just really apt. So I'm going in with my Zule Bling adhesive and some crystal AB rhinestones and just slapping that on towards the back portion of the nail. One and done. It's super pretty, and I think it's just really cute and kind of elegant to just have the single stone sitting back there while the rest of the nails are nice and nude and soft. So this is our design. That's pretty much it. Just a touch of color. It's super soft, and you get that nice tie-dye effect. I'm going in with Matte It from Not Polish, and we are going matte. This client actually was expecting gloss, and I was like, nah, I think we need to go matte on this set, just so it's a little bit more subtle, and we totally loved it in the end. Giving it a nice coat. Do not worry about me painting over those rhinestones. I do go in and wipe them off. That's just my thing, especially with this cuticle bling. Unless it's like a cuff at the cuticle, I'm just kind of like, I don't have have the time to be painting around these rhinestones, I would just wipe it off when ready. So giving it a nice coat, make sure you get the entire nail coated with this matte top coat. I'm gonna clean my cuticle and sidewall areas and then wipe off those rhinestones. You do not want to add matte top coat on top of your rhinestones and cure. It'll definitely ruin the brilliance and the shine of all of your rhinestones. And then I'm gonna have the client cure for 60 seconds to lock that down. So once done with that, I'm just taking a nice wipe with a nice wipe. Is there such thing as a not nice wipe? I'm just taking a wipe with some alcohol on it, and as you can see, I'm just wiping off those rhinestones so that we end up having the brilliance and sparkle that we were looking for in the first place. Once done with that, I'm gonna have the client cure, and this set is done. Here's what that came out looking like, right? Pretty soft and just subtle. I love that we used jellies, even though the color's like super neon and super bright. Because they were jellies and they were diffused by that blooming gel, they just came out so pretty. Love this color on her. Love the matte, love the rhinestones. Just a beautiful set. Hopefully you like it. Like if you do, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.